Well, first of all, we have to stop creating cheap money. So the more money you have in the money supply, money has to find a home, and money finds home in tangible assets because there's only so many tangible assets.
That makes a lot of sense.
So I'm just wondering, since you were saying that housing is a problem for a lot of Americans, there's, as far as I've seen, there's kind of two right-wing housing policies, which is one, we should reduce, how do you say, we should reduce...
Low income? Yeah.
No, I'm saying you should reduce regulations on housing, allow more housing to be built, and two is sort of that we should do government-funded suburbia type stuffs. What's your opinion on how we should solve the housing crisis?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have to stop creating cheap money. So the more money you have in the money supply, money has to find a home, and money finds home in tangible assets because there's only so many tangible assets. So I'll prove it to you.
That makes a lot of sense. The more money that's in society, and it's a very weird concept that I think should just be common sense. If you have more money in society, that means the value of every single dollar will just naturally decrease. So let's say you have a society who is creating cheap money, as he calls it. This means the value per dollar means nothing now. And the reason why this is a problem specifically with housing is because, as you already know, housing is a very limited resource. And to build a house, if you're fast, it takes about a year to build a house. Maybe I'm wrong. Some people who work in construction, maybe let me know if I'm wrong. I don't know. But if there's more cheap money in society and people or corporations are just buying up houses, that supply will quickly run out, leading to a housing shortage.
This is why gold, silver, copper, the stock market, and homes are priced more, but they're actually not worth more than they were 4 years ago. So the price of it goes up more because we're creating $8 trillion every 4 years artificially and boosting the money supply. So we have to get federal spending under control, something that Republicans don't want to do and Democrats don't want to do. And the Federal Reserve is just intent on continually pumping in cheap money into the market. So that's number one. Number two, at least in Arizona, we have to take back federal land from the federal government and give it to states, and we have to try to build out horizontally and not as much vertically. So I don't know if that would be popular around here, but in Arizona especially, the federal government controls actually the majority of the state of Arizona.
And I was actually just talking to my father about this, I want to say a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was saying how America, we're not really on the gold standard right now. We're more so on the, I didn't really have a phrase to call it, but I called it the debt standard, where you're taking out debt to practically build the economy up, rather than when you have a gold standard, there's some type of gold or real worth behind every single dollar. And I was telling him, if you have a standard that's backed by debt, or I will pay you back, that's really good if you need fast innovation or you need a fast economic growth within a society. Because as you know, if you want to start a business, it would be hard, very hard, to get tangible gold that's equivalent to the dollar's worth. So let's say you have a society where, you know, we need some type of innovation. We need fast economic growth. We need way more jobs. We need way more companies. Then it honestly makes sense to have a society backed by debt. However, where we are today, I think it makes more sense to have a society where the dollars are backed by gold, because we don't need innovation right now. We've had periods. We had the .com boom. That's created tons of tech companies, billions, maybe even trillions of dollars. And I think where we are now is that we're at the point where, okay, we got to start paying this money back. Maybe we should switch back to the gold standard. But I would say, if I was running the economy, and I'm not, so this is just my opinion, I think it makes sense to switch between the gold standard and the debt standard maybe every 50 years or so. I don't know all the numbers. I haven't looked into it that much. This is not my field of study. But sometimes society does need fast economic growth, and sometimes we need to slow down and just work with what we have. And plus, on the gold standard, you can still have economic growth, just not a crazy absorbent amount. So I would switch back and forth. And now it's like the debt standard isn't working because we're taking out more money, but we're not paying anything back. But let's continue the video.
So, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah. The one, I guess, thing about building out horizontally instead of vertically is that there's been a couple of theories posited around. I'm not sure if you might have seen them. It's that building out horizontally essentially means that the tax revenue in local in municipalities ends up being not enough to pay for the services you're providing.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends on what community and what the income level is, right, and what your social service demand is. But I think we would all agree that there is a cost to hyper-urbanization. And hyper-urbanization is very expensive. I think you get very bad politics for it, but you don't have to agree with that. You get very dense populations. You get hyper-radical ideas. You get a lot of homelessness and a lot more crime. I think that every single person in this audience should be able to own property, have kids if they want, and get married if they want. Those things are increasingly out of reach for a generation. So it's not like, I don't think we have to overcomplicate the housing situation. I think we'd also agree on this, that if you are an asset manager with assets under management, with over $100 billion asset under management, you should not be able to buy single-family homes and rent them back to people. So
I 100% agree. And don't get me wrong, I still think corporations should have freedoms to make money. I think that's fair. I honestly think that's fair. But when it comes to housing specifically, single-family homes specifically, the resources are way too limited. And I don't think... And you may disagree with me. I don't care if you disagree with me. But if you do, let me know why, and maybe we can talk about this. I don't think it's fair for corporations to buy up a lot of single-family homes, because that is one of the biggest economic juggernauts in society for the average human. And plus, there are a very limited amount of homes. Let's just be honest. It's not like you can buy up a home and another one can be built next week. No, it's not a phone. It's not a pair of shoes. It's a real house. And if you have an entire generation of people who are struggling to buy just a house, this is not even a crazy big house. I'm saying just a house. Just a house. That phrase is crazy in itself. But, you know, a normal home, even one bedroom, 2-bedroom home. 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom is. Anyways, I think that should be in reach for a majority of Americans. I'm sorry. I really think it should be. I think it should be. I don't think corporations should buy the homes and then rent it back. Because what is happening here? The only reason a corporation would do that is for money. And of course, you have to make money as a corporation. But it doesn't benefit society at all. Unless they're lowering the price that they're renting it to. But they're not. Rent is going up. So... it's just not fair. It's not right. And I agree.
So that's a huge problem, is Blackstone is coming in, purchasing single-family homes and renting them back. I think that's a huge problem.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good video. I like corporations, you know, make your money. But when it comes to homes, I think some things should just be, you know, left alone. Not saying a corporation still can't buy homes, but when you're buying 100,000 homes, no. Or even 20,000 homes, that's terrible. That should be unacceptable. Buying whole neighborhoods, no, nah. But anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys.